What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting all the way across the city from me this week and every week, he's the king of all VR kings. He's Soap King himself, Jeremy King.
Hey, thank you so much. And a nice short introduction, I'm going to make it really short and sweet, is the beautiful, not very intimidating. He's like, don't mind his rough and tough haircut. He's very soft and cuddly. It's Brian Parole.
And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PSVR archive, we pull out a game at random, we dust the blow off of it, we play the crap out of it, we see if it's been given any love by developers, any updates, any DLC, and then we try to sell you micro machines. Fast auction. That being said, Jeremy, what game did we decide to play?
We did do the meow. I was all cranked up and ready to go.
And then we let you know the loyal game cats.
Meow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's lackluster now.
If it's worth your time, Jeremy, what game did we decide to play this week?
Well, like the lackluster swipe, we might as well go into this title. It is Darkness Rollercoaster Anniversary Edition.
Darkness Rollercoaster Anniversary Edition by Creative VR 3D, released September 8th, 2020 for $11.49, which isn't true at all. None of that is true, because what this really is just Darkness Rollercoaster Ultimate Shooter Edition, which came out back in February and has been patched over and over and over. Dude, there was a time, I mean, not only was it getting patched practically weekly, but there was a time where I felt like every single time I was turning on my PlayStation, there would be another Darkness Rollercoaster patch downloading, like multiple times a week. We are up to version 1.57 in the course of about just over half a year now.
I'm almost like jealous of the people that got to play this in its vanilla form. If this is the patch.
Boy, spoilers for the rating. Just so a heads up, as a warning, this is a separate listing on the PlayStation Store. It's listed as a new game. It's even if you own Darkness Rollercoaster Ultimate Shooter Edition, it doesn't say you own this. You could potentially buy the same game twice. The only thing that this adds is the 20-minute soundtrack, which, let me tell you, isn't worth the $2 that they're charging for it. All right, let's get this over with. Jeremy, what kind of game is Darkness Rollercoaster Anniversary Edition?
I don't know. I guess it's a rail shooter somehow.
Sure.
And I guess. I mean, you can't really call it a roller coaster sim. I don't know. It's something. It's a game.
It's a roller coaster game. It has theme park aesthetics. You do shoot stuff, so it's kind of a rail shooter. True. Yeah, I'll give it all
also
of that.
Surprisingly Beat Saber some shit thrown in the mix.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure.
So there's a little of that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell me about this, man. Tell me about this. You start the game up. What happens?
I mean, I don't know. It is so. I have no idea. Like, I'm blown away by this entire game, to tell you the truth. But for the most part, I think they don't really explain shit. I mean, you start in this grid thing. You see like a Minecraft map out of this, zone, and you kind of got to look around with your head. First of all, you got to figure that one out, and then you see the dot line up, and then it kind of like opens up these like weird chest things. I don't know.
You're trying to explain the simple
how to even start.
You're trying to explain what most people would call a main menu.
Yeah,
but what this game calls the most cumbersome UI ever, and
it's unbelievable.
Right, it's trying to get from level to level is ridiculous, and I will tell you, it's a million times better than it once was. You used to they used to spin and turn and everything like all around this thing. Sometimes you'd end up like a mile outside of it and try to get back, and you're like, I'm just never going to get to another level. I guess I have to restart the game.
It was like in Fallout. Remember Fallout with Pip-Boy? You'd look at Pip-Boy, and there was a few buttons you actually could interact with, but mapped out on the screen made it look all retro with dials and turn. The menus are like that, except you have to look at those things and accidentally back. I don't know. I found it to be insane just right off the bat, the menu.
It's insane. You're pulling triggers to like slide left and right and using face buttons to back forward and trying to navigate it and see what level. There are a bunch of levels, but trying to see which ones you've been to and which ones you haven't, like none of that is laid out very well. So it's a very weird first impression to have. I'll say that.
I'm going to give you one. All right. So I completed this game in one sitting.
Okay.
But there was at a point in the game where I was ready to text you and say, I'm out. I can't finish this game. Nope. It is that bad because of the fact. And then I discovered, there's a button that puts you forward that you can move forward on the map. Because that simple, where I kept doing the ones in my radius, and it like would progress you to the next one when you did it. But there was a time where during the end of, I don't know, one of the coasters where I accidentally backed out of it, and it put me, somehow I started at the beginning of the map again, and I could not tell where to go from there. I don't know where I had gone. I didn't know how to get back to that area. And I mean, I was ready to check out until I accidentally hit a button and I saw, oh, I can traverse the map. I mean, they didn't explain that, because if you look at the control scheme, it's like looking at Red Dead Redemption 2's control scheme. And this is for a roller coaster sim,
Yeah.
I guess, rail shooter. So yes, very difficult to start out and know exactly what the fuck was going on.
Let's get into a level. I don't think it gives off such a bad first impression once you're actually in a level. You're in a little cart. There's definitely a track. You've got a shield in one hand and a magic wand in the other.
Yeah, it does at times give you that woo feeling where you might be going fast, like that quick woozy feeling for seconds. Because I mean, truly, as you start to, first we'll just talk about the game. So you start to progress on the tracks, and yeah, you do. You have in your right hand, you got this like shield thingy. Well, I set up. Was there a left hand, the right handed option?
Yep.
Did they give us that? Wow,
Yes.
yeah, I discovered it. So it was on my right hand, the shield.
Okay.
So everybody else is the opposite.
The move button on each controller does something. You can charge up a slow motion, kind of a slow-mo thing. So if you're getting into trouble, you can hit slow motion, and then you can take out a bunch of enemies. And the other one, which I think is like I would call it the saving grace of the game, if there was one. It actually switches reality, so it kind of shows you in like a 1997 Photoshop filter sort of way. What's happening behind the reality you can see, and that there's other enemies out there. And so if you want to get 100% on this game, if you want to kill all the enemies in every level, you actually have to hold down the move button every so often and see, are there enemies that I can't see out here to take down? Which I thought was pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that in really many other games at all.
Yeah. I mean, this game like varied wildly from the speeds of the coaster. You know what I mean? Like, you'd go tremendously fast to really slow, instantaneous, like boom, boom. And from environments, because like you would drive through ones that really looked pretty poor, and then some of the ones that were in space, I thought were pretty fucking rad.
Yeah.
You know, they had these big ass things that were like twirling and jiving. They look like the Borg crafts that they in Star Trek.
Yep.
You know, so like it had a lot of detail, and I thought those were done well. So it really varied and changed quite a bit. And then, like we were saying, these certain levels that were like Beat Saber levels, you know, where there was no rhyme or reason to or pattern. I mean, it was like even the difficulty in one track on the Beat Saber-ish type ones went from like beyond easy to fucking insane, like on one little track. At least I felt, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything varied so much. So that like kept you going. I got to say, there's something weird about this game. It is, it's like so bad that it's almost adorable. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a title that it's like, oh, it actually reminded me. You know that Tommy Wiseau movie or whatever, Wiseau, The Room.
The Room, yeah.
It's almost like the game version of The Room. You know,
God.
like it just is so wacky.
Be careful what you say. That's going to end up on a box somewhere. That's going to be a box quote. The VR version of The Room.
Of The Room, yeah.
Crazy. Jeremy King with that Parole. Yeah, I mean, I want to say, I'm going to guess that most of those awesome environments, and it doesn't matter whether this is the case or not, but I feel like when we kind of see what the developers are capable of in the early levels and be like, oh, here, you know, you start off in a little graveyard and it's sort of like adorable art aesthetic. It's like, okay, the lighting's okay, and you can see when you move your wand, it sort of functions as a flashlight and you're shooting, and I can see like some cool lighting effects. But then you compare that to some of the cool stuff you're talking about. There's like a cyberpunk city that just the whole thing just feels like a Unity asset that they just got from somewhere. And it doesn't run well. Whenever you're out in space and you're seeing cool things, or you're seeing that cyberpunk city, suddenly the frame rate takes a dive.
Oh, you're right. Insane. The frame rate was like, I mean, you're right. A total dive.
Yeah.
I crashed actually. I actually crashed once. I've never had a game crash before in VR at least. Huh. And this was the first. Yeah.
You're lucky. I guess that means version 1.58 is on its way.
Oh, why did yours crash quite often? The earlier versions of the game?
The earlier version definitely crashed, but I've had tons of VR games crash on me, a
Oh,
lot.
really? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
When you played a shitload.
also true.
And there is a story to this game, I guess, right? Because there's a weird wizard and these things that were taken away by this big trolley dude. But then we fought that trolley dude, and the kids didn't get returned or whatever they were. And then the game ended after you killed the weird space thingy, which I thought was neat. Nothing. It was like thank you for playing the game, and it asked you to go and rate the game and suggest patches and shit.
We've got a few
You
for
know?
you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So there was a
I'm glad to hear you
oh,
died. I'm glad to hear you died because
I did.
I didn't when I was playing today, and I was playing on just the normal difficulty mode because there's a hard mode under most of the levels,
Yeah.
and so I actually had to go back in right before we started filming and say, can I die in this game? Like, did they remove that in one of the patches? And so I actually went into the hard mode and just let
Mm.
everything attack me. I'm just gonna wait here and see how long it takes. It took forever to die. I was like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So you can die, but
Oh yeah.
I was actually shocked how difficult it was for me to die.
The one where you had to use your head for tracking on that craft to get around the asteroids and fly through the green, not the red
Yeah,
rings, which some areas were just you just had to go through asteroids. I mean, it's kind of like the tracks, because like they avoid. I mean, there's a track under you, but to avoid some stuff that's growing up and around and through the track, I mean, just they did not care about what's the word clipping. I mean, is that a thing?
yeah.
Is that they didn't care about?
There's
But
like
you
no
could
collision
aim right over
detection. I
nothing.
went through. I don't think it registered as a hit.
Some do.
Yeah,
Any enemies that so there were times that I would get hit and I'm like, what is hitting me for Christ's sakes?
yeah, for
And then
sure.
I would hold up the shield. I realized that just you don't have to physically be in the radius of a bullet to hit you. You just have to have an enemy fire a bullet and you not protect yourself. It could go over there and it still flashes your screen as a hit. So physics and hit detection, I don't know. They
Well,
just didn't believe in it, you
when you
know?
were flying out in space, were you able to pull off a straight shot? So many times I was shooting and it was just like all over the place.
Oh, where they curve and
Yeah,
along with the
yeah.
yeah.
It was really hard to pull off a hit. And then even the one of the bosses in space,
Hmm.
I've got footage of me shooting that thing for like 10 minutes, and it doesn't not seeming to do anything. Eventually,
The weird trippy one.
the weird trippy one where
Yeah.
I'm shooting at it nonstop. Is this registering as a hit? Is this am I
Uh-huh.
supposed to hit the tentacles? Am I supposed to hit the big glowing area as any boss battle should have the big glowing area that you aim for?
Yeah.
And after like 10 minutes of getting hit, I think hitting it, I just quit because I was like, this. I don't think
Oh, for real.
yeah. I was like, nothing's happening here. Literally
Yeah.
nothing's happening. So I don't. For me that was
That's right.
totally glitched. I couldn't even beat that boss this time around. I was like, where I could
Yeah.
I could in the original version. I don't know what's
Not
going on.
anymore.
Yeah,
I think one of their glitches actually gave I might have obtained 3 trophies from one of their glitches because the scoring of the percentage of how much I completed the level didn't stop and I let it go till it said I completed it at
yeah, the
2000%.
binary level or something like that, right? It's just like a
It just
totally
kept
screwed
going.
up score. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I was like, am I getting this? And then when you go back and look though, it shows you have a negative score
yeah,
on that level.
yeah. It's crazy. Nothing makes sense. Nothing
Yeah.
makes sense. And for a game that sells its soundtrack separately, or is trying to sell the anniversary edition with a soundtrack as an incentive, I mean, the soundtrack was whatever passable. It's fine, but the sound effects. I was like, I don't think there were sounds of the monsters dying. My pew pew pew
No.
of the one. It was just all drowned out by the music, and
Mm.
none of the sound effects were impactful at all. Like I want to hear the track like when I'm going down the track. I want to feel the vibrations of that in my controllers. I want
Control, yeah.
yeah, and I was just like I didn't get any of that in this game, and I figured after 50 patches, we that would be addressed at some point. There's
Yeah.
none of the shots felt impactful, and I don't think the
Well, you
monsters
did
even make a
email them.
death sound.
Holy shit.
Well, dude, I think it's probably time to rate this sucker.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it probably is. All
What's our
right.
rating scale?
So so one is that you need this game. It is better than Disneyland. There's no Harry Potter Hogwarts Express that can
Wow,
compare to Darkness Roller Coaster, not Nightmare.
that's a high bar to set, man. I don't know if any game's gonna get a one on that scale.
right? Yeah, that was my first roller coaster ever. Go figure.
Really
33. I saved
crazy.
it for that. Two was will be. I mean, just wait. I mean, wait for a sale. You'll dig this coaster. Maybe it's like going to remember Whalen Park. Be like going to
You'll have a
Whalen
whale of a
Park.
time. Yeah.
You'd have a whale of a time. Yeah, but at a discount price. And then three is you'd have better fucking fun jumping on a bike without a seat on it. Save you money and do that instead. You'll have more fun than riding this. And so, Brian, what do you rate this coaster of a fucking great time called
You know,
Darkness Rollercoaster
it's
Anniversary?
in a Darkness Rollercoaster Anniversary Edition,
Is this the
aka.
2 month anniversary? Is that what they were celebrating? Release?
I mean, I don't even understand, right? What is the anniversary? Because it hasn't been out for a year yet. What are we celebrating? Right? 50 patches later, congratulations, put a candle in the cake. It is,
Right.
it is still not ready, man. Like it shouldn't have been taken out of the oven yet. This game, I mean, you can tell that the developers care because they keep patching it and they keep working on it and they keep tweaking it and listening to suggestions and improving things. But it's absolutely insane that here we are, I don't know, 8 months after launch,
Mm-hmm.
and it still has a ridiculous number of problems. Nothing seems well thought out. The menu screen alone is a travesty. It just you can't.
Oh,
It's tough to even figure out. Did I go? Have I played that level? Have I played that stage? Am I going to? Is this the one I just played? Oh wait, it's that one. Bonus stage. They have all these different ideas that are just like shoved out onto the page and then not really edited or worked on. Like you said, the uh, Beat Saber bonus levels, the
mhm.
move your head to get through the gates bonus levels. All of these things would have been cool if they implemented them in the actual levels as other gameplay elements, but as separate things, they just seem ridiculous and totally throwaway.
Yeah.
The and in the levels themselves, again, there are small areas where I'm like, oh man, this is like well crafted, and they really took their time and made a destructible sign over here, and you're like, oh, this looks nice, and the lighting is cool, and the end, but then it just devolves into this mindless shooter where again I wasn't dying very much and or at all, and it just felt the whole thing just felt throwaway. And I wasn't impressed with the experience at all. And I've seen some comments where people are like, "Oh, my kid loves this game." I was like, "That's great, man, but like show your kids good games because
Shame on you.
I'll tell you what kids like. The kids like everything, right?
Yeah.
There's really not games that kids don't like, and so it's like saying, "Oh, my kid likes this," so somehow that's an excuse for this is not an excuse. This is, PSVR is made for technically adults or people over a certain age, and once you're of that certain age, like this game shouldn't appeal to you whatsoever. This is a hard three for me, and I admire the team for sticking with it, persevering through all the negative reviews and me shit talking it on Without Parole. But the fact is it's still not there, and if you're gonna charge me $10 for a game, and to have the fucking audacity, I'm sorry, this is where I lose respect for the developers, to have a separate listing on the PlayStation Store where you could accidentally buy this again, thinking it's the next Darkness Rollercoaster game. Don't it seems like a pretty scummy move to me. Like, let's post it twice on the PlayStation Store. Maybe we can accidentally get some people to buy this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard three, hard pass. Stay the fuck away. There's plenty of roller coaster games. This isn't one of them. Or plenty of good roller coaster games. This isn't one of them. All
Yeah.
right. Ooh, rant over. Jeremy, what do you think of Darkness Rollercoaster?
Dude, you're like that villain in the new Batman trailer. You just beat the fuck down out of that shit. So, and I'm with you. That's a little shady, that whole anniversary edition separate thing. But besides that, okay, so yes, this game. So and when I go into these things, I do my best to not look at any. I don't talk to you about it. I don't watch anything about it. I go in so it's like my own thoughts
Yeah.
on all of it. And so I jump in, and yeah, first thing I notice is like, oh, it's weird. The load screen, there's this giant thing coming at me. There's no sound. It sounds like there's already a glitch. It just already gave me the idea that this was very low budget. Although it wasn't like I've bought other titles for around the same price that were very much not the low budget feel. You know what I mean? Isolation for a little bit more, for example.
Separation.
Unbelievable. Separation, sorry. I always say isolation. Separation for a little bit more. I mean, you know?
Yeah.
So immediately I just felt this was a budget title, you know? And so when I get in there And the menu is weird, and it's like you got to use your head, and I'm like, why do we got to use our head? I don't want to do that, but whatever. So I do that. I get in there, do the first thing, and I'm like, okay, the coaster's moving along, and it's going kind of slow. It didn't really start off like wow. It started like, hey, take a look, And as they slowly started to do things, and I started to play the game, I'm like, all right, this kind of stinks. How much longer do I have to play this for? How long am I going to be playing this for? And so I started to get kind of a little bit into it, like figuring, all right, I'm going to blow through this game pretty quickly. I'll be very prepared. And so doing all these things. And then I got to that point in the map where you can unlock that, that little ride
The
you can go
Tower of
on with
Terror.
Tower of Terror. And I thought, wow, there's going to be little things like this in the park. But that was it. Just that one little Tower of Terror. It lifts you up and it drops you. It gave me no sensation of dropping. Zero. Like, I could have been, it was like, nothing.
It also makes you
Zero.
want to exit it before you even do it because it puts the
Yeah.
exit button right in front of your face, so you can't even look forward without
Yeah.
it trying to exit the ride.
Oh, shit, that's right. I forgot about that. It's just awkward. All of it awkward. So it was at that, after I did one of those where it set me back at the beginning of the track, like we were discussing, and I was like, fuck this. I thought I had to go through all of the tracks again because it makes it that unclear when you're playing this title that what's happening after you complete a track, There's no progress evident, or no path laid out. It's just these things might glow, but they all glow. These boxes you look at to open the tile to show you can start this level if you've done it or not.
Yeah.
So, anyways, after I figured out I could move forward, and then I then the map, and I jumped back into where I left off, and I kept going from there. For some reason, something changed, and at that point, like I just kind of realized this game's bad, and it's so bad that it was starting to be like good. Like I was cracking up playing this game. I actually laughed. I was like, "Oh my god, this was making me so nauseous and sick. Why not? Why not do this in this game?" And I kept getting queasy, but like I was laughing about it because it was just all so bad. Hit detection. Things would I would approach something in the track and it'd be like, "There's no avoiding it." Okay, I'll just go through it. Why not? And it was just I was laughing through the whole game until I all of a sudden was done with the game. And I'm like, "Wait, that's the end? I beat it?" And I'm like, huh. I'm like, that game was fucking horrible. But it's like, I also laughed a shitload over the glitches. They did some things really neat. Like I was saying, the space stages I thought were pretty fucking neat. I thought the look of everything and how it was awesome. And it gave me a really good, I felt good playing those areas.
Nice.
And the big bosses that they kind of showed, like that skeleton one, and how they had the slow down feature, which was pretty pointless because you could just kill everything anyways. You didn't really truly need to slow down time. And everything looked pretty neat when you press the other button to see that alternate reality. So when it was like, how do I rate this? Because it's almost like one of those games that I'd want to show my buddies. I'm like, you got to check this fucking game out because it's so bad.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat with this one, man. You get
Yeah.
my heart's racing. What do you got?
That's the thing. I almost want to say it's so bad, it's almost adorable. And that it's like, oh, these guys really, they're trying. And at the end, when the game was over and you're going through this little coaster during the daylight, and the developer with that creepy voice, and then the words are coming over saying, like, oh, give us suggestions, email us, tell us, we'll take it. And I was like, all right. It's kind of like they apologize so much,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, do you need a towel? You want me to wipe up? Sorry, I didn't mean to get it there. It's like an after sex type of apology thing over and over. It's like, all right, okay,
Sorry, I wasn't
down.
better.
Yeah, like that shit. It doesn't happen all the time, but I was nervous, like those type of things. So it's almost, I feel like I need to give this a week too. It's so bad. The price is really not, oh my God, that price. I mean, if this was a $1 game, I'd be like, oh my God, this is a strong 2. You got to play this shit fucking title. So like, I feel bad. You're going to be mad. Anybody who takes my recommendation and buys this game, they're going to be mad because it's so poorly done. But it's almost like it's so bad I have to recommend it as a good laugh, because I actually laughed and had a good time with how bad it was. So I feel like a really weak 2, and I know it should be a 3. and I really want to say a 3 because you shouldn't buy this, but I almost really am curious for people to actually try this and laugh about how poorly executed it was.
I like that you somehow found the good in the bad. That totally works.
Well, it did that churn, it actually churned around. It's like somebody must have made a rhubarb pie for the very first time and like, no, actually, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that,
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the rhubarb pie of VR reviews from me. It's a really weak tart too.
Well, I will let you know, my friend, that rating just caused me to lose a pizza bet with one of our loyal moderators, Bel Ramio. So I owe you a pizza, my friend. I was telling him it was going to be a 3. He was like, I bet Jeremy gives it a 2. And I was like, wow, that's insane. Never in a million years did I think it was going to happen. And I love that you somehow found the good in this game. That being said, guys, let us know what you thought of Darkness Rollercoaster in the comments below. Did you play it before any of the multitude of patches? Have you checked it out recently? Is the anniversary edition making you ask questions of wondering if it's been improved since launch? We want to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below, and also let us know what other games you want us to play. The list is long; it keeps getting longer. For another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, my name is Brian Paul,
and I'm Jeremy King.
I wish we had a different ending for this because it sounds so ridiculous. And I'm Jeremy King. You sound so reluctant to say it because it is kind of cringy.
Right? Yeah. It's like Regis and Kathy Lee back in the way. He's like, bye, Regis. Bye, Kathy. Yeah. It's just basic.
We'll come up with something better, I promise. And we'll see you next week.
Next week.